guns don't kill people, people kill people. Guns, for the law-abiding citizens need our guns. Mike, I want to switch gears for another minute here. Special interest money, their influence in Washington, their influence on Gene Schmidt. I want to tell a quick little story, get some reaction from you. Gene Schmidt, 2003, takes a trip to Cuba with the Farmers Association and writes just a great op-ed piece. Don't know if she wrote it herself, but it's a great op-ed piece. Basically, I'll cut to the gist. She's talking about the embargo with Cuba. At the end of this, she says it's time to open our doors to this new trading partner and to leave behind the outdated ideas from 40 years ago that never attained their goals. Very clearly, advocate for lifting the embargo. Took a lot of money from the Farmers Association, but hey, it would have brought money to Ohio, would have opened up some agricultural markets. So what happens when Gene gets to Congress in 2006? Well, looks like on April 21st, 2006, $2,000 from Democracy Believers PAC. That's an anti-Castro group. On 4/21/06, $1,000 from the RL PAC, anti-Castro group. On April 21st, $3,000 for Cuba Democracy PAC, U.S. Cuba Democracy PAC, anti-Castro group. That day, they cast a vote in the House of Representatives to lift the embargo. Do you think Jean stood with the farmers that she represented in 2003 and voted to lift the embargo? Or do you think the $6,000 she took that day changed her vote to not lift the embargo, Mike?
Well, I would hope $6,000 wouldn't change anybody's vote. But that, you got to go back to your principles. You got to go back to what you stand on. And, if you always tell the truth and you always believe in something, then you're going to make the right decisions. But, when you can be bought and paid for, even for $6,000, you're going to lose your way. And that's just another example of how Gene Schmidt has failed us in the not only in 2nd District, but in all of the state of Ohio for the Ohio Farm Bureau Group and for this country. A person in Congress has got to have, their word has got to be solid. And it's got to be solid today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. And when people find out that you're not solid, then you're done. And you can't be effective. You can't be an effective legislator. People won't trust you. People won't let you carry the mail for them, so to speak, on issues that are important to you. And when you lose your way, you've lost your way.
Absolutely, and clearly, that's just one example, Mike. I could give you so many others where Gene has taken money and voted completely opposite where she may have been in the past, but there's always a check beside that.
Well, I'll tell you, right now, I have no special interest groups that's contributed to my campaign or done anything for me. And I want it that way. I know, and I don't know the figure for sure, maybe you know it, but I think in the last election, Gene Schmidt spent over $1 million.
Absolutely.
And, I'll spend maybe $50,000 in this election. That's a lot of money for me. It takes a lot of money to run an election, and I can see right now where just the ordinary guy could never run for Congress. I was filling out my Federal Election Commission paperwork the other day for my expense report, and I think the thing ended up being like 40 pages long, and I'm sitting there thinking, my goodness, this is kind of complicated, but I sit there and did it myself, and I doubt Gene Schmidt ever filled hers out.
She wouldn't know.
I'm sure she has a CPA that does all that. But the other thing that I want to emphasize to the voters, people are tired of sending millionaire know-nothings to Congress to do nothing for them. And, I want to make a pledge that I'm not going to celebrate my 62nd birthday in Washington. I'm taking a pledge to serve 3 years and then come home.
3 terms.
Or 3 terms. Thank you for correcting me. But 3 terms and come home. Most of these folks, including Gene Schmidt, think more of her job than she does her firstborn child, and they'll do anything to get elected and reelected. And I'm hopeful that I can be elected. I think that we've got a real shot at this, and I'm going to continue to tell the truth and to continue to work hard and to continue to uplift and uphold the conservative values that I'm known for in Warren County.
Now, Mike, on that topic, you've got a story to share about an engineer in Warren County, and it was Republican, right? So you're not afraid to go after corruption.
We're all Republican in Warren County.
Okay.
The only Democrat we've had in Warren County that in my recent memory was my neighbor, Mr. Paul Herdman, and he was a county judge there for 28 years, and again, he's my neighbor and a dear friend of ours. But no, I've never been afraid to take on issues, even when there's politics involved. You know, but when you have one county rule, and look over in Butler County, they're going through that right now. They've had scandal after scandal. Well, we've had our share of that too, and of course it was back in 1997, the incident you're referring to. But our county engineer was brought up on charges for theft in office, and actually the county employees brought the bad conduct to my attention, and I took it to the other two commissioners, and really they didn't want to do anything about it. And I said, hey guys, we're going to do something about it. I'm going to see the Attorney General in the morning, and if you guys want to go with me, you're invited, because I'm going up and we're going to indict this guy. And he was a Republican. You know, we're all Republican, but you know, I'm Republican, but I've never been the fair-haired candidate. I've had primary competition every time I've ran. I think except for 1994, I've always had a primary opponent, and I think it made me stronger. I think it made me work harder, and it really made me the guy I am today in public office. But I've never been afraid to take on those tough decisions, even when politics is involved, because you know, you get right back to it. You know, the truth is the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Something Gene knows nothing about. Mike, we're going to go to our last break. We'll be back in just a moment. Mike Kilburn, 2nd Congressional District. Be right back with you. Welcome back, everyone. Here with Mike Kilburn, Kilburn2Congress.com. Going to be your next congressman in 2nd Congressional District. Mike, the environment right now in this country, and in the 2nd District especially, Tea Party. You know, as we walked in here, there's a bumper sticker on the door that says vote them all out. Talk a little bit about the Tea Party principles, what you've done with that group, and if you haven't, think it'll have an influence in this election cycle.
Oh, I think it'll have a great influence in this election. You know, the Tea Party may be the group that saves this country. You know, and you go right back to Glenn Beck, and Glenn Beck started the 9/12 Project, and the Tea Parties came out of there. Mike Wilson got involved here in Cincinnati. But these are just regular, ordinary people who see our democracy and our liberty slipping away from us. And, you know, we've got to come back to those basics. We've got to honor our Constitution. Jean Schmidt was at the big Tea Party rally up in Westchester a year ago, and she walked up there and told all those folks at the Tea Party that she thought the Constitution was a living, changing document. Well, that's another big difference between me and Jean Schmidt. You know, I believe our Constitution was ordained by God the Father. I believe that our founders were inspired by God to put together this greatest country on earth, and the Constitution is what it is. You know, it's kind of like the Bible, in my opinion, that they are inspired words that we need to live by. And I think the Tea Party group is just the greatest thing that's happened in this country in my lifetime. Anyway, you know, they've reached out. They've gotten a hold of people who are just fed up. They want government to get out of our way. They know the government's too big. As I said before, God only asked for 10% of our paycheck. The federal government takes 40%. Who in the world do they think they are?
Absolutely. Mike, your track record, I would consider that Tea Party, would you not?
You know, let me tell you, I was Tea Party before Tea Party was cool. I started off as Tea Party of Warren County. I'm the guy. They just call me Mr. Conservative up home, and that's quite a compliment to me. But you know, when we started, the very first day I was in office, January of 1983, our paychecks bounced. And you know, the Mr. Hertman guy I was telling you about, he had our depository at the First National Bank of Warren County. And on that Saturday morning, Mr. Hertman calls my house, and Debbie, my wife, answers the phone and says, honey, Mr. Hertman's on the phone. And I thought, well, what in the world would he want? And he proceeded to tell me that our paychecks were bouncing. And, you know, we've come from that point till today, where we have over, our county treasurer has over $200 million in investments that he manages. Now, that's not general fund money, but a big portion of it is. But the reason we have that money is because me and other conservatives on our board of county commissioners were able to say no. You know, just like a couple years ago, our county sheriff, he wanted us to build a new jail. And me and one other commissioner looked at him and said, hey, Tom, we're not going to build a new jail. We just built a jail